It's the 30 biggest selling Canadian albums worldwide on Rock History Canada. Number 30, Michael Bublé and It's Time, released February 8th, 2005. It was produced by David Foster with Umberto Gatica and others. So far, it's sold over 6.2 million copies worldwide and peaked at number 7 on the US Billboard 200. It was a number 1 album in Canada, Italy, and the UK. And it spent 104 weeks on the Billboard 200. It's certified 4 times platinum in Canada, 2 times platinum in the US, and 6 times in Australia. It's platinum or higher in 10 countries. Notable songs: Home, a Bublé original, and his breakout hit. His cover of the Nina Simone classic Feeling Good. Other notables: You Don't Know Me, the classic Drifter song Save the Last Dance for Me. And some say the title is sort of a wink to maybe it was his time for a worldwide success. Number 29, Shania Twain's Greatest Hits. Here's an artist with over 100 million sales worldwide. The Greatest Hits was released in 2004. She was born Eileen Regina Edwards on August 28, 1965 in Windsor, Ontario, and raised in Timmins. She signed to Mercury Nashville Records in 1993, and her self-titled debut only sold modestly. Things would go on to change. Number 28, Drake and Scorpion, selling 6.4 worldwide. He was born October 24th in 1986 in Toronto. His father was a drummer for Jerry Lee Lewis. His maternal grandmother once babysat Aretha Franklin. And he started as an actor on Degrassi: The Next Generation. Number 27, Michael Bublé and Crazy Love, his biggest album at 6.9 worldwide. He was born September 9th, 1975 in Burnaby, British Columbia. He was inspired by his Italian grandfather, who played him tons of jazz standards. He first performed in nightclubs at 16. He first got noticed while being at the Canadian Prime Minister's house where he met David Foster. Number 26, Alanis Morissette, and supposed former infatuation junkie, selling 7 million copies. She was born June 1st, 1974 in Ottawa, Ontario, and became a dual Canadian-American citizen in 2005. Her voice and style: emotive mezzo-soprano. And of course, those very confessional lyrics we can't forget. She became the queen of alt-rock angst, starting as a dance disco artist. Her breakthrough came in 1995 with Jagged Little Pill, which is coming up on this list. Number 25, The Weeknd and Beauty Behind the Madness at 7 million copies sold. He was born February 16th, 1990 in Toronto. Beauty Behind the Madness in 2015 featured the hits Can't Feel My Face and Earned It. And the record won a Grammy for Best R&B Album. Number 24, Drake and Views at 7.6 million. The record had 5 major singles: One Dance, Hotline Bling, Too Good, Controlla, and Pop Style. Number 23, Nelly Furtado and Whoa Nelly at 8 million copies sold worldwide. She was born Nelly Kim Furtado on December 2nd, 1978 in Victoria, British Columbia, to Portuguese immigrant parents. She was a musical prodigy. She began singing at the age of 4. Played trombone and ukulele by 9. Later, she learned guitar, keyboards, and songwriting by her early teens. Number 22, Nickelback, The Long Road, at 8 million sold. The band formed in 1995 in Hanna, Alberta, originally under the name Village Idiot. The band started as a cover act before relocating to Vancouver, where they started working on originals. And unfortunately for Nickelback, who make a few stops in this countdown, they became one of the most hated bands of all time. Some people thought they were too ubiquitous. Songs like How I Remind You, Photograph, and Rockstar were really everywhere in the 2000s. They were accused of being too formulaic. Others thought their lyrics were a little cringy. And of course, the internet turned them into many memes. But still, they sold a lot of records. Avril Lavigne at number 21 with Under My Skin at 8 million copies. Of course, you probably noticed that segue. Avril and Nickelback frontman Chad Kroeger started dating in early 2012. They got engaged later that year, and the couple married on July 1st, 2013. But by 2015, it was kind of over between them. Under My Skin was released May 25th, 2004. Some of the key tracks: My Happy Ending, which was the album's biggest hit, peaked at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100. Then there was the feminist rock pop anthem, Don't Tell Me. And other tunes really stood out, like Nobody's Home, Take Me Away, He Wasn't, and Fall to Pieces. Number 20, Bryan Adams, Waking Up the Neighbors. 8.2 million sold worldwide. He was born November 5th, 1959 in Kingston, Ontario. He moved a lot because of his father's diplomatic career, eventually settling into Vancouver. He dropped out of high school at 15 to perform in Vancouver clubs. That's where he met his collaborator, songwriting partner, Jim Vallance. Waking Up the Neighbors was released in 1991. It was produced by Bryan Adams and Robert John Mutt Lang, who of course is famous for AC/DC, Def Leppard, and his former wife, Shania Twain. Some of the big tracks on the album, well, you can't forget this one, Everything I Do for You, from the Robin Hood soundtrack. It became one of the biggest love songs of all time. Then there was Can't Stop This Thing We Started, Do I Have to Say the Words, and many more. Number 19, Neil Young and Harvest at 8.5 sales worldwide. Released on February 1st, 1972, it's famous for quite a few songs. Heart of Gold, it was Young's only number one single, featuring James Taylor and Linda Ronstadt on backing vocals. It became his signature song, and it's still one of the most beloved folk rock tunes of all time. Old Man, a reflection on aging, understanding one's own future. That also features Taylor and Linda Ronstadt. Then there was Alabama, a harsh critique on racism in the American South. It was later referenced in Lynyrd Skynyrd's Sweet Home Alabama. Number 18, Sarah McLachlan and Surfacing at 9.1 million sales. It was her breakthrough album, elevating her to global stardom and one of the most defining works in the 1990s Canadian music scene. Released July 15, 1997, it featured Building a Mystery, the lead single, and a former number one song. It won a Grammy for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance. Then there was Angel. It's a haunting piano ballad inspired by the heroin-related death of Smashing Pumpkins keyboardist Jonathan Melvoin. Other standouts, Adia and Sweet Surrender. Number 17, Nickelback and Silver Side Up. It sold 9.3 million worldwide. Released on September 11th, 2001, it featured some badass big hits. How You Remind Me. It was their biggest hit. It reached number one on the Billboard Hot 100 and was one of the most played songs of the 2000s. Then there was Too Bad, a raw track about being abandoned, and Never Again, which tackled domestic abuse. Number 16, Nelly Furtado and Loose at 10 million sales worldwide. It came out June 9th, 2006, and it featured Promiscuous, featuring Timbaland. There was always that rumor that she actually paid Timbaland $1 million for that one song. It was a flirtatious electric pop hit that reached number one on the Billboard Hot 100. Other standouts, Man-Eater, Say It Right, and All Good Things. Number 15, Bryan Adams and his greatest hits, So Far So Good. It sold 10.1 worldwide. Adams is one of the top Canadian artists of all time, known as one of the hardest working as well. He has sold over 75 million records worldwide. And his biggest selling albums? Reckless, Waking Up the Neighbors, and of course this one, So Far So Good. Number 14, Celine Dion and her Christmas album, These Are Special Times, selling 11 million copies. Now keep in mind, there are conflicting reports on a lot of these album sales. We've kind of taken all of them together and rounded them out. Some of the interesting facts about Celine Dion: she's obsessed with shoes. She once admitted that she has over 10,000 pairs and requires a warehouse to house them. She also sings to her coffee. During her Las Vegas residency, she admitted that she actually sings into her coffee as a vocal warm-up. And she can make fun of herself, releasing songs and remakes of Elvis and AC/DC impersonations. Number 13 and 2, or Deux, by Celine Dion at 12 million copies. Number 12, A New Day Has Come, and Celine Dion from 2002 at 12 million. After a hiatus, Dion had this eager comeback, which featured A New Day Has Come, the title song, and I'm Alive. Number 11, Bryan Adams' biggest album at 12 million sales with Reckless. Now look out for a feature we're going to be doing on Video Girls in the future. And you can't mention Reckless without mentioning Lysette Anthony, one of the most beautiful women from the 80s. She was a professional actress and model, born September 26, 1963 in London. Anthony was once called the face of the 80s, and she appeared on several Bryan Adams videos. She's that girl. She appeared in a lot of British TV shows and films. There was Krull in 1983, Husbands and Wives in 1992, directed by Woody Allen, Coronation Street, The Bill, and many, many more. And yes, of course, she's still gorgeous. Number 10, Let Go and Avril Lavigne from 2002. It sold 18 million records. At 17, Levine kind of defied teen pop norms, was sort of a punk pop edge that really resonated with a lot of people. Skater Boy and Complicated were the big hits from that album. Number 9, another interesting Avril Chad segue with Nickelback at 19 million copies for all the right reasons. Here's an interesting fact about Nickelback. They once got paid $1 million to play for a billionaire. It was a private party for a Russian billionaire. But it gets even more quirky. Their first album was funded by selling pickles. Before their big label days, they sold pickles at local festivals in Alberta. And they're so Canadian, they played the Grey Cup, which is Canada's Super Bowl. Number 8, and Shania Twain and the album Up. Now this one especially has a lot of different sales figures that we found. At times, it's as low as 9.5, which I know isn't low. But many sources cited the album selling 20 million copies. The record was released November 19th, 2002, produced by her then-husband, Mutt Lange. The lead single was I'm Gonna Get You Good, which rose to the top 10 in several countries. The ballad Forever and For Always, which is still one of her most streamed songs. The pop satire Ka-Ching. And the record was top 10 in over 15 countries. Number 7. The Color of My Love with Celine Dion from 1993, selling 20 million copies. It was her English language breakthrough, with hits like The Power of Love and Think Twice. Number 6, Shania Twain and The Woman in Me at 20 million copies from 1995. You ever get the feeling that women kind of control the all-time biggest Canadian albums? The Woman in Me was released February 7th, 1995. Again produced by her then-husband, Robert John Mutt Lange. It featured Any Man of Mine, a number 1 country hit, but it was a crossover. Then there was Whose Bed Have Your Boots Been Under? Another country hit. There was The Woman in Me, Needs the Man in You, and If You're Not In It for Love, I'm Out of Here. Number 5, All the Way. A Decade of Song with Celine Dion at 22 million copies sold. It's interesting how Celine Dion's greatest hits has greatly outsold Shania Twain's greatest hits. This one's at 22 million copies, while Shania is at 6.3. And you can't sell that many records without being, well, somewhat a little quirky. She once bought a golf course, Celine did, by accident. Her and her husband were trying to buy a house in Quebec, but ended up buying the house and a golf course beside it. She's also a ketchup addict, believe it or not, saying in multiple interviews she puts ketchup on everything. Number 4, Let's Talk About Love and Celine Dion from 1997, selling 31 million copies. Released November 9th, 1993. And number 3, Falling Into You with Celine Dion. Here's an artist that has sold over 250 million records overall. Falling Into You featured Because You Love Me and It's All Coming Back to Me Now. It was a powerhouse album and also her biggest selling, released in 1996. The tracks Because You Love Me, It's All Coming Back to Me Now, the title song, and All By Myself. Number 2, Jagged Little Pill, Alanis Morissette from 1995, selling 33 million copies. What makes the album so raw is her sense of being unapologetic. There are folks who walk into rooms and their shoulders are lowered and they talk in an octave that makes people believe what they're saying. And that certainly happened with Jagged Little Pill. Released June 13th, 1995. The key tracks were You Oughta Know. It was really a furious breakout song. Then there was Ironic, one of her biggest hits, Hand in My Pocket, sort of a slacker anthem, and it's an album that continually sells incredibly well. It went 17 times platinum in the US alone. And the biggest selling album in Canadian history worldwide is Come On Over, Shania Twain, 1997. It's also the 10th biggest selling album of all time, selling 40 million copies. Key hits, You're Still the One, that Brad Pitt diss with That Don't Impress Me Much. I still don't know why she did that. And Man, I Feel Like a Woman. The album hit the top of the charts in so many countries. 20 times platinum in the US alone. 2 times diamond in Canada. The album was actually re-released twice. To keep momentum going, Shania's team re-released the album in 1999 and in 2000 with slightly different mixes and extended version. They wanted to help push it past 40 million copies. Interestingly, Shania was almost dropped before her breakthrough. Before the Woman in Me album, Mercury Nashville wasn't sure if she really had star potential. And an interesting fact that Shania and her then-husband Mutt Lange retreated to a cabin in the Swiss Alps to write and produce much of the record. They wanted to stay away from the Nashville spotlight. And there you have it, the biggest selling Canadian albums of all time worldwide.